Well, hello from sunny Yorkshire. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about sketchbooks. What I like to do when I finish a sketchbook, particularly if it's a new one, is I like to revisit my thoughts on it, because it's only really when you complete a sketchbook and you can look back, you can really get an idea of a feel for how much you actually like it. So today we're going to be talking about this, which is a Khadi sketchbook, and these are made in India, I believe. Their website talks about how they use recycled cotton rags. I actually wrote it down. Do you ever find that if you write stuff down, it's real, whereas if you read it on the screen, you forget it instantly. This pad is 21 by 25 centimeters, which is a good size, but actually in fairness, probably a bit big for a lot of like small bag urban sketching situations. You certainly couldn't put it in your pocket. It's roughly sort of A4 minus 5 centimeters on one side, which is a bit of an odd size, but now the paper is 100% cotton paper. It's a very, very unique characteristic, this paper. I'm going to do some close-ups so you can see what the edge is like and what the texture is like. It's like no other paper, this. It's a bit of a one-off type of product. So these pads, they're 210 GSM, which means it's relatively thick paper, relatively. I mean, it's going to be enough to take watercolour and hold its shape. Now it's 100% cotton rag, as I said, which is great. That's the gold seal for paper. Personally, I like cotton paper. So I would say that like Khadi paper is definitely one of those ones that if you're not sure, if you've not tried this or tried that and you're a bit inexperienced, grab yourself some Khadi paper. You can get it in loose sheets, lots of different weights. I would keep it above 200 GSM. You don't want to go too thin, but you can also get it in sketchbooks and like fold out concertina, accordion books, blah, blah, blah. So the outside cover of this is a recycled cardboard. It's not the most attractive cover, but I guess you could decorate it. So there's a mixture of stuff in here, from like urban sketching to more specific sketches that have been done for YouTube tutorials or just for my own pleasure. This is an interesting one. This is done with grey fine liner, a grey ink, and then a bright yellow ink. It's a really fun one. That I think these value studies with completely crazy contrasting colours, it's a lot of fun. I like that. So I've been to a history festival for the last couple of years. It's called We Have Ways Fest, and it's basically all about Second World War history. It's not militaristic in the sense of don't like fire guns or anything. It's more about the history of the Second World War, the tactics, the equipment, and the sort of social history of it as well, really. How people's lives are affected by this amazing and tragic bit of history. So it's a perfect place, sitting in the sun, maybe with a beer, maybe not. And you can sketch people, and you can sketch some of the little demonstrations and the vehicles. This is a day urban sketching in Sheffield. Really quick, messy sketch. This is one of those ones where you look at it and you go like, I'm not so keen on that, but I learned something from it. Don't do too much, I guess. I don't know. And then equally, just around the corner, there was this really nice building, and I had a little bit of a play with that. I love these bollards. They're really cool. These are a couple of years ago now, so some holiday sketches in Cornwall. Same thing, 2003. God, where does the time go? Can't be 2 years ago. Really simple one again. I just used a bit of ink. An ink wash is a great way to create a really flat wash. Yeah, so the order's a bit all over the place. These cool Jeeps. Look at them, they're so cute. So more vehicles and guns and things from the We Have Ways Fest. This is a really good example of how the Khadi pad takes colour. Look at the lovely soft transition between those different colours within that wash there. It's very pretty. Didn't do anything with that. So this paper, and this is a kind of cold press paper. It's got a bit of a texture to it, not much. That's lovely, isn't it? I really like that. It's a very immaculate sketch for me. I don't normally do stuff as finished and as like precise as that, but anyway. Yeah, as you can see with the close-ups, it's quite a rough quality paper, but it's not too rough. It's about right for me. I like a little bit of texture because I like to do this dry brush work where you drag the paintbrush across the paper and you get these broken lines as it dries out. That's a lot of my art. I do tend to use that. I'm really not a big fan of that color scheme. It's just, I knew what I was trying to do, but it didn't work. On this, I think it did work. Just don't like it. So this is an interesting one. This is like two variations on a theme. This is sketched with a fountain pen with the blue ink in, and then water-soluble ink. And then what I've done is I've painted in some elements of shadow shade, and it's basically a value study. I do like that. What I've tried to do here is use a grey, Earl Grey ink and then a yellow. And I kind of get it, I just don't like it. Well, I don't know, I do like it, but it's a bit weird. Interesting seeing them side by side though. Again, this is another little sketch of St. Ives, a holiday sketch. That's an interesting example of how, like, when you don't have a focal point. So this is a kind of mid-ground and then a background. There's no kind of foreground, and I feel like it misses it somehow. But there's some interesting things going on with that sketch. I like the fenders, the little dots of colour, and how there's little dots of colour there. I think it's got a sort of sympathy to it. But anyway, yeah, it's all good. Unfinished one of Pit and Weem, I think. This is a classic, going out with the kids. Don't really want to talk to other parents necessarily, because all we talk about is kids. So I'm going to do some sketching. Just sketch some people in the park doing stuff. It looks like a winter's day to me. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Again, colours, just too crazy poppy colours on that one. I mean, it's nicely seen. And the proportion of the figures is a bit weird. This is an interesting sketch. This was done with a fountain pen. And then I went in with watercolour over the top, but the fountain pen is water soluble. Obviously the ink is. Most of the time ink in fountain pens is water soluble, unless it says otherwise. And yeah, and this is a sketch with a friend. Interesting patterns in this woodland. Again, out walking on the moors. That's almost too unfinished for me, but yeah, it's nice. Some more sketches of holidays up in Fife in Scotland. That's Anstruther, I believe. A watercolour only piece. I do occasionally like doing just watercolour only with no line work. It makes me feel like I kind of know what I'm doing, even though I don't. And then, yeah, a couple more sketches from We Have Ways Fest. This was one that actually needs some colour putting on it. It's a really lovely sketch, that. If you look at the, I wish I hadn't done that black there, but anyway, if you look at the values in that, it's like a good grounding for then putting some watercolour over the top. I like the horizontal sketch cross-hatching in that. Sally's art, my daughter. Some more sketching that's not been coloured. It doesn't inspire me. Does that make sense? It doesn't inspire me as much as something a little bit crazy where things get splashed around. Now, that's a personal preference, and I'm not denigrating anything from artists who do very considered little delicate pieces. I think there's a real beauty in that, but I just like a bit more chaos. So this is a sketch from this year in the park. It's just a little culvert and a little bit of growth and a little bit of stream, and then a local bit of Beauchief Abbey, one of the remaining bits of an old monastery. You might have seen this in a demo. It's a really nice piece. That's the kind of almost like my sweet spot in terms of like loose, but kind of got a bit of energy, but it tells the story enough. The eyes can fill in a lot of what's not there, and it is about quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. That's kind of the sweet spot for me in terms of the kind of thing I like. So this is kind of, I think, weirdly where the Khadi paper works really well. Bright colours. It takes colours so well, and you end up with this lovely, rich tones. I think actually, I mean, this is kind of overcoloured for me, I think, that blue. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about these because these are going to feature in a tutorial where I talk about bits that don't work as well as bits that do. Yeah, I mean, perfect sketch for this pad. Across both pages, which you can do because it lies flat. Loads of colour, a little bit of dry wash work in the trees, spots of colour, nice chunky lines. That's the kind of sketch that works so well in this pad, and it just seems to take it really well. So I did this sketch in Saltaire when I was out with my friends on a sketching day, and this was 20 minutes. And yeah, this is like the perfect pad for that. You see, they've got some lovely watercolour effects. Again, this was done for a upcoming YouTube demo. Love the thick lines on that. This pad, I mean, having it that much bigger enables you to work that little bit longer, that little bit wider, you know. So there's another little drawing there, some nice close-ups of that, because that, I think that as a study, you know, bark and tree and things works super well. So yeah, that's 210 GSM cold press paper, thick enough to take a lot of watercolour. You could really go to town on that. And because of the fabric of the structure of the paper, 32 pages, And these retail for about £23 in the UK, which I know is expensive, but like I say, for 32 pages or 64 sides, it's pretty good value, I think. And this is a big pad. The smaller ones are obviously cheaper. So if you've never tried Khadi paper, Khadi, do try it out. It's not like any other paper I've used, really. It really does stand out. Yeah, and I enjoy sketching with it. And can they please send me some more of these pads, please? I don't like paying for things now. I'm a YouTuber. No, I'm certainly not paying for anything anymore. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that little sketchbook tour and review of the Khadi sketchbook type thing. I've got a couple more of these coming up, so look out for those. Yeah. I'll see you next time.